comes, Most High willing, He give me that blessing, it's gonna be no mercy. You know, you brothers and sisters gotta be on that too. Y'all gotta feel that same way. No mercy, no feeling sorry for them. You reap what you sow. You know, as I just read in Galatians 6 and 7, you reap what you sow.
Of a certain religion, and absent any group being held responsible for the fire, it was the perfect story for wall-to-wall non-stop mainstream media coverage.
Here in France, the cultural significance of Notre Dame, more so than the religious, is on many people's minds.
In the days after flames devoured the roof of Notre Dame Cathedral, leaving a hole where its spire once stood, firefighters raced to cool down the walls so they wouldn't also crumble. With these scenes resonating beyond France's borders, people around the world have pledged more than $1 billion to rebuild Notre Dame.
We don't know if it's enough or not.
Really?
You can say it's crazy to have €1 billion, but we don't know. We don't know, maybe it will cost 2 or 3 billion.
France is crying, and the world is crying with us.
No, the world ain't crying with y'all. Nobody give a damn about that church. Nobody give a damn about that church. The hell with your church. Damn church, man.
€1 billion, that's an extraordinary amount of money to come in so quickly.
180 just to renovate it when they were in the midst of that.
Yeah.
So, a lot.
Now, don't get me wrong, I have tremendous respect and admiration for the history, the architectural magnificence, and most of all, the religious significance of Notre Dame's cathedral.
Yeah, because all these Edomites, man, they know the history going back to that, man. They know what it's about. And it all goes back to slavery. All of it, man. It all goes back to slavery. They're not ashamed for it. They all racist, man. All of them. Every single Edomite that you see is racist, man. They can be around you. They can be your friend for years. But they have that deep, dark hatred in them. Sometimes they don't even know they have it. But they have it. But in these last days, it's going to come out. As you see in so many cases, you know, these Edomites, you know, they doing, you know, just anything now. They killing us. They lying on us. They calling the cops on us, getting us killed. They you see them drunk and somebody will catch them on camera saying all types of derogatory things about Jake, you know. But it shouldn't be no surprise to you because the Most High said the spirit that is in him is not upright. You know, is wicked, man. It's talking about Esau, the so-called white man.
The fire was a tragic blow to the church, to Paris, and to the world. But if it was an accident, as we've been told, how does it compare to the Sri Lanka attacks? How does it justify 7 times the Google searches? In my view, it simply doesn't. Now, make no mistake, these searches are driven by media coverage, and media coverage is driven by media bias. How many of you know that just days after the attacks in New Zealand and the mosques, scores of people were killed in the Christian village of Mishika in Nigeria by Boko Haram? Or that on February 25th, 50 were killed and 140 homes were burned in a predominantly Christian village by Fulani, the terrorists in central Nigeria? How many Google searches do you think those stories have racked up? Probably not enough to even notice, because the media elected not to tell you about those attacks.
But right now in Afghanistan, converting to Christianity carries a death sentence if you're a Muslim. The same is true in Saudi Arabia and the UAE, both countries backed by the United States. In Egypt, conversion is legally restricted, and while it doesn't carry a death sentence, polls show.
And our people love that Muslim stuff, man. That Allah, and they start talking in that whatever damn language that is, man. Islam, and they come with the Quran and they swear up and down they Muslim. Man, listen, our people are lost, man. Hosea 4:6. Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
So that most of the public in Egypt wishes it did. So where's our State Department in all this? Our State Department, which spends a lot of time looking out for the human rights of people in countries you can't pronounce. They ignore it.
But let me ask you, when a mosque is attacked, at least this is the way I perceive it as a watcher of news, and I have my own biases, but when a mosque is attacked and people are killed, there's outrage, as well there should be. And the media, as we saw with the New Zealand attacks, you know, they looked at what happened and then they went in depth on the issue of white nationalism and tried to, some of them tie it to Donald Trump. But when Christians are slaughtered and churches are attacked, as they are so often throughout the world, the media tends to gloss over the who and the why when they report on the attack. Why do you think that is? Why does it seem to be? Why am I perceiving that bias? Are you?
Good evening from Look North. Firefighters have spent the warmest Easter Monday on record trying to control a massive moorland fire that broke out last night in Marsden in West Yorkshire.
This is the 6th fire on this stretch of moorland since the beginning of the year. A major fire in February damaged 121 hectares. There have been 4 separate smaller fires since, and now this.
And in these events, man, there are a huge number of people dying in these events. 300, 400, 700, 800, 1,000 people. The Most High ain't playing in these last days, man. Our people don't think you're going to be exempt from these types of judgment. You don't want to come back to who you are. You don't want to follow the laws. You want to be wicked. You still want to eat pork. You still want to smoke weed. You still want to whore out your women. You still want to be whoremongers. Women, you still want to be whores and harlots and hoes. You know? You still want to sell drugs to your brothers and sisters. This judgment gonna come upon you. This ain't no game. You think when the brothers is out there weekend after weekend, they out there for a game? It ain't no damn game. They out there because they love their people. Brothers might have differences, but we all one in Yahweh Shah, Hamashiach. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. This ain't a game. People think when we go out there, this is just another fad, a religion, a movement. This ain't neither one of those. This is a nationality. This is a temple we built. The Most High. The Most High's temple. Yahweh Shah's temple. This ain't a game.
G.K. Chesterton once responded to a contest in one of the London papers, which asked its readers to submit their answer to the question, "What's wrong with the world?" His was the
Edomites are wrong with the world. You get rid of the Edomites, the world would be a better place. All these other nations, the world would be a better place. You know? And that world I'm talking about is the world of the Israelites.
The most widely published, considered to be the best answer, and also was by far the shortest. He simply wrote, "Dear sirs, me. Me. What's wrong with the world? It's me." Suddenly, everything from that
God, you answered it.
That moment has meaning, has purpose, has design. As he said to Jeremiah, "I have a plan for you to bring you to."
Who was an Israelite? Jeremiah was an Israelite.
Good.
And when he wept, he didn't weep for you damn Edomites. He wept because he seen his people in such terrible conditions, and seeing how we were sinning. And he wept for that. He didn't weep for no other nations.
But then he adds, "and take up his cross." Now, to us, that doesn't mean to go down to our favorite jeweler and buy a nice little necklace, silver, gold, or platinum with a cross and stud it with diamonds to show that we're really devout. No. It was it was the actual cross he was talking about. The crosses that they saw lining the roads. The cross that he himself one day was nailed upon. It was an emblem of death and execution of the worst and most brutal kind.
The Israelites are holding that cross, which is that burden. We're the only ones going through affliction. Now you nations going through affliction. Now y'all want to talk about, what's wrong with the world. But as long as we was getting hung and as long as y'all had us in slavery, it wasn't nothing wrong with the world. Damn heathens, man. I can't stand none of you damn other nations, man.
He says, if you're going to follow me, you have to really be willing to become like those who are carrying their cross. He then gives us a simple warning. He says, whoever wants to save his life must lose it. And whoever who loses his life for me will find it.
And who was he talking to? Only the Israelites. That's the only ones he was talking to.
He's not talking about suicide. What he's talking about is giving up on my plan for my life. And living in the constant desire to discover what his plan is, and what his purpose is, and what his will is. You see, Chesterton was a devout follower of Jesus, and he understood that it's my sin that ruins not only my life, but the lives of other people that I allow my sin to touch. There's no use and no value, no benefit in blaming other people, although we're all pretty good at that. But the truth of the matter is that God says, I sent Christ into the world to die for your sins, and I raised him from the dead on the third day so that...
Die for the sins of the Israelites, man. Die for the sins of the Israelites. Let me get that. Let me see. Wait. Shalakia. Slakia. Here's Matthew 15. Matthew 15:24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So Yahushua was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Salakia. This computer's been giving me problems all day. Salakia. So the Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, only came for the house of, for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He didn't come for everybody. You know? Israel, that's who he came for.
That you would have hope. That you would know that just as he was raised, you will be raised. That death no longer can exert its terror over your life. But rather you can believe in the one who died and was raised for your sins.
Call hello Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Shalom.